Hi all, welcome back to a new post today, and today let's discuss about the Jute First policy that was recently approved by the cabinet with regard to sustainable packing solutions in the country. Now recently there was a cabinet meeting held at the union government, and it was decided to make the use of jute mandatory for packing of certain products such as rice, wheat and sugar. So this decision was taken in regard to the jute industry facing a competition from synthetic fibers such as plastic, nylon, etc. So the reservation norms were decided by the cabinet meeting recently, and they were issued under a regulatory law called as the Jute Packaging Materials Act of 1987. So what does this law actually stand for? Now the act provides for the compulsory use of jute for packaging of certain products and distribution of certain commodities, keeping in the interest the production of raw jute and jute packaging material, and also the persons that are engaged in the production of jute and also production of the packaging material for jute, etc. Now let me tell you, India is the third largest producer of jute, followed by Bangladesh and China, and it is known as a golden fiber and is one of the most significant industries in India after cotton. However, Bangladesh tops the list in terms of acreage and trade, and it accounts for almost 3/4 of the global jute exports in comparison with India, which is just a minimal of 7%. Now, the major jute producing areas in the country are West Bengal, Odisha, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, etc. So if you see, the jute is produced in the eastern regions of India, in the eastern states, and it requires high humidity along with high temperature as well. So what does this mean? What does this decision of providing of mandatory packaging for rice, wheat and sugar mean for the jute industry? Now the mandatory reservation norms means that the jute has to be used for packaging of these goods that are mentioned, that is right, wheat and sugar. So 100% of rice and wheat and 20% of sugar packaging material will be done by jute. The mandatory packing norms will be a big boost now, especially for those areas who are growing jute, because it means increase in demand for the packaging of jute bags, that is the jute bags that are used in packaging of material. Now jute, as I said, is grown in high rainfall and high temperature areas of these states, as I mentioned above, and almost 40 lakh families are sustaining on the jute industry in these states. So definitely it's going to help these families as well, and also the farmers who are engaged in jute production. Now the reservation norms under the JPM Act will provide for a direct employment of almost 3,70,000 workers with this in the jute industry. It protects the interests of jute farmers and also the workers and the persons who are engaged in producing jute goods, etc. So 75% of the total production of jute industry, let me tell you, is engaged in producing jute sacking bags, and 85% of this is actually taken by the Food Corporation of India and the state procurement agencies, or the SPAs, who are engaged in PDS or the food security with regard to the ration shops. So the government already purchases a lot of jute bags by spending approximately rupees 9,000 crore rupees on this, and this ensures a market for jute and also employment for the workers and also the farmers as well. Now the reservation norms would further deepen the interest of domestic production of raw jute and also jute packaging material in India. This will also give a boost to the jute industry, which is facing a very tough competition from plastic and other synthetic fibers. Let me tell you, jute is a biodegradable product. It can be reusable, and also every part of the jute plant is reusable and does not go for waste. Also, it is the friend of the environment because it sucks in the carbon dioxide and releases a lot of oxygen. It is very helpful for the soil enrichment as well, and is recommended by agriculture scientists to use in crop rotation as well. So it is the friend of nature. And the jute industry has been facing a lot of woes as of recent. So the jute industry, though, is almost 150 years in India, and we have almost a whopping of 70 mills in the country, but this industry is facing certain problems. Now, out of the 7 jute mills in the country, let me tell you, 60 of them are located in West Bengal. So almost 90% of the jute industry is catered to West Bengal. It is the oldest and the most prominent industries in India, and India is the biggest producer of jute, followed by Bangladesh and China. As I said, it is primarily grown in West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam, and especially along the banks of river Hooghly in West Bengal. It is a very labor intensive industry, and in West Bengal only almost 2 lakh workers are employed in the jute industry and 4 lakh families are engaged across the country. It is the only crop where the earning of which starts when the sowing itself starts off. So, and it continues, the earning of the crop continues until the crop is harvested. As I told you, every part of the plant is useful and does not go waste. So the seeds are planted between April and May and they are harvested between July and August. The leaves are also, the leaves are taken as a delicacy. The hardy grass roots and other parts also have several uses. The outer layer of the stem produces the jute fiber. The leaves can be cooked, and also the inner woody stems are used to manufacture paper, and the roots which are left over, they improve the subsequent crops as well. So nothing of the crop actually goes for waste. Now, compared to rice, which requires similar conditions, that is high rainfall and high temperature, jute requires very little water and fertilizers, and it is pest resistant. It rapidly spurts and ensures that the weeds also do not get a chance for growth. And all of it is that the monetary returns in comparison to paddy is more for jute. The acre of land produces approximately 9 quintals of fiber. And not only does this wonder crop also bring in a lot of returns from the domestic market, but also it is a sort of a product in the international market because of its biodegradable nature. So it also consumes the carbon dioxide and releases the oxygen and increases the soil fertility. I told you it's a friend of the soil, and if it is grown in crop rotation, it also does not produce any toxic gases while burnt. So it is the second most abundant used natural fiber after cotton, and it has a variety of features that make it sought after. Like, it has a high, very tensile strength, it is acoustic, has thermal insulation, has a lot of breathability, low extensibility, it is very easily blended with other synthetic and natural fibers, and also it has anti-static properties. Now, it can be used for in replacing of glass wool. It can be used in geotextiles. It is used as activated carbon powder. It is used as wall coverings, flooring, garments, rugs, ropes, gunny bags, handicrafts, curtains, carpets, etc. So it has a wide array. But the most problem is that in India there is no diversification of the industries with regard to other products. As I told you, almost 80% of the industry is involved only in producing the sacking jute bags. And therefore, there is a call for the global golden fiber revolution with regard to jute reforms in India, and many committees have also recommended there's a lot of reforms that are needed for this jute industry, seeing the advantages and also the returns with regard to it, and more than that, sustainability of the product and its environmental friendly nature. So what are the problems actually faced by the jute industry, for which they are calling for a golden fiber revolution in India? Now, with the partition of Bengal into West Bengal and East Bengal during the British rule, most of the jute growing land has gone to Bangladesh, and therefore we face a tough competition with regard to our neighbor itself in jute products. It also, the industry is using the same old technology and obsolete processing technology, due to which it's not able to compete with the global products and also the productivity standards. There is lack of product diversification. As I told you, most of the industries produce the sacking bags, and so there is no product diversification. Many also do not use the jute products. There's no much marketing, etc. And also with regard to awareness. Availability of raw jute is a big problem in India, especially because of its competition from Bangladesh, and also that the cyclones, etc., that we face reduces the production acreage, and also the small growing area with regard to jute in the country. The shrinking acreage on the other hand is another problem. The failure of the jute mills to modernize has almost left all the mills at the mercy of the government, and that is why the government keeps coming up with these packaging reservations under the Jute Act of 1987, which I just spoke of, to protect these mills from the competition. And a section of the industry also, as it's only a very small section that is diversified into the non-packaging segment. Now, jute also costs higher if you compare it with plastic and other synthetic fibers, and this is facing a competition with the other cheap nylon or the other synthetic fibers. Jute mills not only procure they don't procure the raw material directly for the farmers. So because the mills are very far away from the producing areas, and there is a lot of middlemen included in this, so the farmers actually do not get the returns well, and the mills have to pay a higher price. Now, that is why the center brought about this Jute Packaging Materials Act in 1987 to actually protect the jute sector from the competition from plastic management. But as I told you, and recently it has covered 100% of food grains for packaging under jute and 20% under sugar. But there is a need for a lot of reforms in the jute sector, keeping in mind the returns, the friendly nature with regard to soil and also environment, and also with its sustainability. It can be actually used and coupled with the other nylon fibers also to increase its market. There can be a lot of awareness with regard to other products that can be diversified in India, and mostly there has to be an increase with regard to the improvement in technology that is used by the mills. So that is why there are many companies calling for a golden fiber revolution in India. And actually, why do we need this? Especially keeping in mind the returns, the environmental friendly nature, and many good features of this fiber, which is the most sought after one after cotton. I hope this information was really helpful to you all, and if you did like, share and subscribe, and do comment and tell me how you like this, and do follow me on your daily basis for your other important topics that really made news on that very day. And I shall see you every week also with your weekly roundup of polity and governance, international affairs and economy as well. And until then, as usual, it's very happy learning.